Good morning, everyone. This is Dan with Senior E-Bike Nation. Getting ready to do a 30-mile ride here. So again, I'm going to ride my Cyrusher Kommoda 20-inch e-bike. So I just want to kind of give you an overview of the bike here, and then we'll be running some video on my ride itself, and I'll be talking about the bike a little bit. So here is the Cyrusher Kommoda. It is like I said, a 20-inch bike. It's one of Cyrusher's fairly new e-bike. Couple additions I did put on the bike here, so I'll show them to you. But this bike is a fat tire bike, and it's a step-through bike, which makes it really a lot easier for people that have disabilities or somebody getting older that has a harder time stepping over the bike itself to get on it. So that's why this bike was, I think, is why it was made. But it can also serve as a trail bike as well. But I normally do bike trails, mostly asphalt, what they call rail trails. So a little bit about the bike. It's got a controller here that turn it on here, that actually will have different pedal assist speeds, and as you can see, you can change those out to pedal assist 2, 3, 4, and 5. As you can see, that goes to a power level, which is the highest setting, and when you get to that level, you're turning the pedals pretty quick. So, but I'll bring it back down here through the pedal assist speeds again, back down to 1. I've already put on about 750 miles on this bike. It's got a Shimano 7-speed shifter, so that's really nice. I usually keep it on 6 or 7, primarily 7 when I'm riding. And then over here we have, of course, we got your headlights that actually you can either leave on or off. I pretty much leave them off when I'm riding the bike. As you can see, they're pretty bright. And then when you hit the brakes on this bike, also the rear brake lights up as well, so that's pretty nice. And then of course you got a horn. Not very loud. I don't use it very often, but it does have it. And on the bike itself, we have a down tube here, which is your battery. It's got a 48-inch battery. I'm sorry, 48 volt battery. And then it's 14 amp hour. And I'll show you the battery here. I purchased an extra battery that I carry in my bag. So it's also got a 750 watt rear hub motor, a Bafang, which is really the top of the line on the motors. And then it's got front and rear suspension as well, which is really nice. And this is the rear suspension back here. And then of course it comes with this rack also on the bike. So I purchased the bag and the cup holder and the mirrors as an aftermarket for the bike. The bike itself will do about 26 to 27 mile an hour if you get up into pedal assist 5. So I'm going to take you through that as I'm riding here with the cadence and what the bike will do. So I purchased an aftermarket Bluetooth speaker as well for the bike, where I could listen to music, podcast, or whatever. Seat on this surprisingly is very comfortable on the stock seat, so I'm going to leave that alone. It's got folding pedals, so I'm not sure why they do that on this bike, but I don't see the purpose of it. But anyway, I just wanted to show you the bike, a little bit about it, and go to the next video. We will be taking a ride. So again, this is Dan with Senior E-Bike Nation. If you like this video, hit the like button at the bottom, smash that subscribe button, share the video, and leave any comments down in the bottom of the comment section. that you want to know about the bike, or if you got questions you have about it. So I will see you on the next video. Okay, I'm getting ready to doing our 30-mile ride today. So I'm going to start out in pedal assist 2, which is typically around 17 mile an hour. And I kind of stay in pedal assist 2 for a while, but today I'm kind of demonstrating the power levels on this Cyrusher Kommoda. So I want to kind of put it through its paces. It's a great bike. I put on 750 miles so far and couldn't be more pleased with the performance of the bike. We really got some great bike trails here in Ohio, where we got so many rail trails and bike trails, and we got some of the best bike trails in the nation. On my 30-mile ride alone, I'm only on this road for 0.8 of a mile total, 4 up and 4 back, and the rest of the bike trail. So about 14.2 miles is going to be on bike trail. So that's it's really safe once you get on these bike trails. So getting ready to turn on the bike trail here to go to my destination. Again, we're going to start out in pedal assist 2. And then once we're going to bump it up a little bit here. Right now, again, we're about 16, 17 mile an hour. And I'm going to bump that up to pedal assist 3, which is over here on the left, the up and down for the pedal assist. We're now on pedal assist 3. And I'm about 20 mile an hour in just pedal assist 3. And we're going to bump it up to pedal assist 4. And I'm at 23 to 24 mile an hour. And then pedal assist 5, which is called power, it's going to max out here about 26, 27 mile an hour. So you can see at those speeds, the bike performs very well. But for now, I'm going to stay at pedal assist 2 for about another couple miles here. And then I'll bump it back up once we turn onto the trail that we're going to go to our destination. Hopefully today we're going to see a couple deer. I've seen a lot of them last week. We're heading into fall along the trail. But when I was filming, of course, they wouldn't show up until I come back. And of course, I wasn't filming at that point, and there the deer appeared. So hopefully we'll see them on our first half of the ride here. We're coming up here on our first major intersection. And this bike has also got a half throttle here on the right, which you can see. It's right here. And that half throttle really helps when you're crossing intersections or going up hills. Very beneficial. Again, I can probably get 30 miles to 35 out of this ride if I pedal assist 2 or pedal assist 3. I can pretty much get 30 to 35 miles out of a full charge on this 48 volt battery. But once I get halfway point, I'll go ahead and change the battery out. So I can ride it more comfortable speeds on the way back. Not many people on the trail during the weekdays. You'll see a few, but not like you do during the weekend. This is beautiful weather to ride. It's probably only 70 degrees right now. Got a nice little breeze coming out of the west-northwest. So it's very comfortable. Definitely my favorite time of year to ride. I love riding in the winter too. And I really can't wait to this winter when I can get this bike out on the snow. With these 20-inch fat tires, the footprint of the tire ought to hold the road pretty good. Now, I won't be riding when there's a lot of ice out. I'll be 71 years old in November, so I don't want to risk injury, obviously. A little harder to come back when you get older. Coming up on another intersection we got to cross. We got about, I think either 14 of them, I think we have, time we get to our destination that we have to cross over. But there's not much traffic on most of them. This area of the bike trail here used to be a rail, and over here on the left we've got the other set of rails, and I think it's in their budget to take those out, and they're going to make another bikeway there. I don't know where that's going to start, but once they take it out, it'll allow us to go into the city. Here we in Dayton, Ohio. So we'll be able to ride into the city on the trail. Now there are bike trails that go along the river already that go downtown, but this will help go into the lower east end of Dayton, which has got some historical landmarks, and I'm looking forward to that once they get that finished. It probably looks like a couple years time they get that done. Haven't even started, it's still in the planning stages. Obviously see lots of squirrels on here. I see a lot of rabbits in midsummer, but all the squirrels are getting ready for winter. They're calling for a rough winter. I guess we'll see. Farmer's Almanac is calling for it. Lots of snow and very cold weather. Excuse me. Cold weather doesn't bother me too much out here. I can dress for it. I've got hand warmers that you can purchase. I use those in my gloves. Of course, I dress in layers. I wear a face mask, Bavaca, on my face, so it keeps me warm. The only thing that struggles in the wintertime are the batteries. It's like any battery, but these lithium-ion batteries, they don't like real cold weather. So where I may get 35 miles out of a ride, I'm going to get probably 20, maybe 25 on a full charge. So batteries just don't do real well in cold weather. We're coming up on another intersection. As soon as I cross this intersection, we'll be turning to go to our destination. You can see all the really cool things on these buildings over here. All the graffiti, but there's some really talented artists that do this stuff. Really cool. Getting ready to turn right up here to head towards my destination, and if I stay straight here, it'll take you all the way to downtown Dayton. I ride this trail 4 days a week primarily. I'll do Monday, Tuesday, usually Thursday, Friday, and I will ride 30 miles each time, so I'm getting about 120 miles a week or a little better when I'm riding. That's good exercise. I probably burn anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 calories on a ride. So a lot of people think, well, you got an e-bike, you're not exercising. But if you're turning these pedals, you're exercising. It just makes it easier if you're getting older or you have disabilities. But you can get out and get a lot of good exercise. It's just beautiful on these trails. This is where I have peace. Not that I don't have peace throughout my life, because I'm a Christian. You know the Lord, you have that peace within you. That's the Holy Spirit. But you get out here and you just don't worry about anything. You just ride. And these trails in Ohio, I mean, they'll just take you pretty much all over the place. Got a biker coming through this way. Morning. I'm seeing more and more e-bikers on the trail than I've ever seen before. I just purchased this Cyrusher about, I'd say, month and a half ago, about 6 weeks. And again, I've already put on 755 miles, so I'm happy with that. As you can see, I'm already at 3.2 miles, and I'm still at 100% on the battery. It'll fluctuate when it starts dropping. It'll get around about 4 to 5% each time it drops, but I should have anywhere from 60 to 70% on my battery when I get to my halfway point left. But I just go ahead and change the battery out there and come back. Again, a pedal assist 2 like I'm on now, it's very comfortable. But as I mentioned, if you have any comments you want to make, I'll be happy to try to answer them for you on my experience with this bike. This retailed originally, I think, for $25.99 plus tax, US dollars. And I purchased it at $21.99 plus tax. They're not cheap. But there's such a wide range of prices on these. I have another e-bike I ride a couple days a week, and I ride this in 2 days a week. That call an aerial rider Rydell, which I can, I only paid $750 for that on Facebook Marketplace. It was a guy selling it in my area here. So when I went and purchased the bike, I kind of asked him why he's getting rid of it. Its bike was less than a month old, and they retailed for only $1,000 new. They have upgraded that model to another one called the Aerial Rider Kepler, but it's very similar to the Aerial Rider Rydell, except it's got fat tires on it, a 26-inch bike. And of course, retailing for more expensive than the Aerial Rider Rydell did. But I asked him, I said, why are you getting rid of the bike? And he said, well, I commute from my house to work, and I need a faster bike. Because this, the Aerial Rider that I ride, the other bike, it will only get you to about 20 miles an hour, and it's got a speed restrictor on it. So that's why he was selling it. He just wanted a faster bike to get to work. You know, I'm very comfortable with 20 mile an hour riding, but he wanted to boost it up a little bit. But that was my first e-bike, and I put almost 2,700 miles on that since last August, a year ago. So I've had about a year and 2 months on it now. Had to put new tires on it because they were getting bald. I had to put on, I took off the mechanical brakes on that bike and put on hydraulic brakes. They were getting really bad, the brakes, so I had to change those out. A couple minor things I had to adjust on it. Had a couple of flat tires early on, but put in more beefier inner tubes that weren't puncture proof but close to it, and so far I've not had another flat tire. And I really don't have a favorite between the two bikes. I like both of them. But again, this one's a smaller bike, and it's a step through, which makes it a lot easier to get on and off. But as far as speed goes, this one's a little faster, I think. But I'll tell you, once you get to pedal assist 5, like I showed earlier, you're at 28 mile an hour. You can't hardly keep up with the pedals. So I'm about to change out a sprocket to a lower gear where I can not have to pedal so fast at pedal assist 5. I can do it for substantial distance actually, but that's not real enjoyable for me riding a bike. I can ride at this speed, 17 mile an hour. It's very comfortable. On your left, see a lot of walkers out here with animals, dogs, but they have to be on a leash. Sometimes you see them running without their leashes, but most of the time they got them on. See a lot of people with the little kids out, which is really nice. That's more on the weekend, it seems like. But during the week, I mean, you got a few people out, but not like you do on the weekend. Now, they got stop signs all around when you come up on these roads and stuff. Of course, the major roads we stop at. But you're really supposed to stop at all those stop signs. Nobody ever does riding bikes. And they're very lax and don't enforce it. You just got to be careful as you're crossing them. On your left. I don't pass as many bikes during the week. You see a few. I see pretty much the same people when I'm out riding. They got their routines like I do. I normally ride on Mondays, but I did not yesterday. I had some things I had to get done and a viewing we had to go to, so I didn't ride my bike yesterday. I did hike on Sunday. I like to hike as well. You might want to see that video that I have up. We just now come up on the 5 mile marker. And my bike computer is showing 5.2 miles. And my Apple Watch is showing 5.0, just about the same time. So we're about 2/10 difference on the computer and my watch, so that's pretty good. Of course, we're heading into fall here. We're getting quite a few leaves come down now. But the parks maintenance people do really well keeping everything off these trails. Once it gets a lot of leaves on the trail, they'll come by with these great big blowers and they'll get the leaves off the trails. Got an opening here. Now in the winter time, they don't shovel them. I mean, they don't come by with any snow equipment to get the snow off the trails. Ride at your own risk for sure. But there are a lot of days in the winter where there's nothing on the trail, so I get out and ride every chance I get. I'm retired now. I work in the pest control industry for 40 years and had 40 years of fun. I love my job. I own my own company probably the last 18 years. Turned that over to my son and my grandkids, and I receive a nice little monthly check from them, for my son, for the company. But I knew it was time to retire when I did. Had a little heart scare back in 2019, 2020, about when COVID was hitting. I went to my doctor for a normal year physical and had the EKG done. When he come back, he says, have you had any chest pain or any shortness of breath? And I told him no. So he sent me to a cardiologist, and they ran the same test, and he said there's nothing there. But he said there's a couple things you can do. You can either do an ultrasound or do nothing. And I'm looking at this cardiologist. He's fairly young. I consider him young, in his 30s, 40s. I said, what would you do if it was your heart? He said, I'd go ahead and get the ultrasound done. So that pretty much told me to get it done. Well, when I had the ultrasound done, there was nothing there. And I know that whole ordeal was the God deal. That was God's plan. He wanted me to retire, so he threw a health scare at me, kind of like shooting a warning shot across the bow. It was time for me to retire, so I did. And I couldn't be happier that I went ahead and retired. I've been married 50 years now. And my wife had a little health scare. Well, she did have a health problem. She had a double mastectomy back in 2017, and she's fine from that. It's been almost 5 years now. Coming up here in March on our last appointment with the oncologist. So we was blessed to have that happen. And a little story about her surgery. She had her surgery when she's only 64. And of course, she could not attain health insurance because of her diabetes and her weight and our age. So she wasn't able to get any health insurance. On your left. So this was in October when she was 64. Her birthday wasn't until January to turn 65 for Medicare. So she had to have the surgery right away. She decided to have a double mastectomy. And I had a little funny story. Remember, first time we sat down with the surgeon, he said, well, you can have a single, a double, or just a lumpectomy. Well, she decided to just take them both off, which I kind of giggled at that a little bit, but that was her choice. And I asked him, I said, you know, what's this going to cost? Because we didn't have any health insurance at the time for her. And I asked him, I said, what's this going to cost? And I said about $20,000. He said, I don't drive a Lamborghini, I drive a pickup truck. It was only $6,000 for the surgery. But the surgery alone, as far as the hospital and the room and everything she had to go through to have that done, that was $49,000. So we paid him directly, and then had to apply for Medicaid and all that, see if they would help on the cost of the surgery and everything, as far as the hospital and all that. And Of course, I got declined because of my income and all that I had, and savings and stuff like that. So we sit down with a financial person there at the hospital after the surgery and everything, and was going to make plans to make payments on that, which morning. I think it's very important that you pay your bills. That's just my generation. So we never received a bill for that. So we checked back with the hospital administrator again, and she goes, well, that bill's been paid. And we have no idea who paid that. It could have been a breast cancer foundation. We don't know who paid that bill. So we're very thankful for that. So I give God the glory and allowing him to orchestrate the payment on that. So that's why it's important for me to trust God. And I've got 2 grown sons in their mid to late 40s, and I got 5 grandchildren. They're either in their teens or early 20s. But this is what I do for retirement. If I'm not riding my bike, I'm going to start hiking again here shortly. I had to kind of get off my knees for a while. I went to see a orthopedic guy, and he was showing me the x-rays on my knees, and he said, you got bone on these knees. He said, so you can either get the cortisone shots in your knee, and you can do that about every 3 months, I guess. Or you can go ahead and get knee replacements. Well, I'm not ready for that. So I told him I ride my bike, and he says, continue riding. You're going to build muscles around your knee, around those knees. So I have, and put on 2,800 miles now, and morning. And I'm able to not have much pain in my knees. Now, if I walk 3 to 5 miles or longer, my knees start hurting a little bit. Went on a small 3-mile hike the other day and didn't bother my knees at all. But I learned to take an anti-inflammatory before I start hiking, maybe Advil or something like that. My doctor recommended to do that, and that seemed to help a lot. But even if you're getting into riding bikes or e-bikes or hiking, anything you do is just strenuous activity, you need to see your doctor first before you do that. Because I would never tell anybody to get out there and ride an e-bike until their doctor says they're healthy enough to do it. We just can't do what we did 20 years ago. The more I do this, I find it's a lot easier to do. I've got so much pedaling in the last year that doesn't bother my knees at all. It doesn't bother my back. My hands started getting a little tingly a little bit once I ride on these handlebars. But you just got to shake them off a little bit every now and then. And posture on your bike is very important. You don't want your pedal on the downstroke where your leg is completely straight. That'll cause havoc on your knees. You really want about somewhere around a 30%, I think it is, that they recommend angle when you're at the downstroke on your bike. That's what your knee should be at. And then on your back and arms and stuff, you're going to really want that's where your seat level is very important. You don't want your arms completely stretched out. You want a little bend in your arms at the elbow, and that'll alleviate any problems there. And you want a pretty much upright posture on your bike so you can keep your back straight. But we've come, I'm thinking about 8 miles now, a little better than 8 miles. As you can see, I've got about 94% left on my battery. And I'm just cruising along here, 16, 17 mile an hour. So I've come halfway and I've still got 94%. Come halfway on the 15 miles and I've still got 94% on the battery. You can hear the tires a little bit as you're riding along. I mean, people could kind of hear that when you're coming up on them. Morning. Still got these fall flowers blooming over here. It's pretty nice. On your left. Thank you. Got some ballparks over here on the left. They got a little detour I've got to go around up here. They're doing some road work and sewer work up here, so I've got to turn left up here and go down a little bit to get back on the road. The detour itself, they really want you to go about 2 miles out of the way, and I've done that. But I figured out a way to not have to go that 2 miles. I'm only going to go probably a half a mile difference than I normally would. Here's where we got to take a little detour here. Morning. It's just gorgeous out here today. It's perfect bike riding weather. Dropped down to about 91% now, and we're at 9 miles. This road will take us up where, instead of turning left to go to the detour they want me to go on, spin another 2 miles, but I don't want to do that. So I turn right and just ride the road up a little bit and watch for cars, and then turn left into a parking lot to get back onto the bike trail again. A little past the detour work. So I've been doing this for about a month now, like this. Have no traffic coming from the left here. Just got to be a little careful here. You see the road worker doing here. Like I said, to put in new sewers, and I'm sure they're going to repave the road when they're done. Well, I'm getting ready to turn into this little parking lot here. It'll get me back on the bike trail. Yeah, this bike does very well on this gravel. Now my other bike's 26-inch bike, and it's only got like 1.75 wide tires on it, so I got to be really careful on that gravel back there because you can slide and fall pretty easily. But now we're going to get back onto the bike trail. And we probably got about another 5.5 miles to get to our destination. Again, if there's anything more you'd like to know about my Cyrusher Kommoda, put it down in the comment section. They're easily to assemble. When they ship the box to your house, and their delivery is only like 3 to 7 days. In United States, I think their warehouse is in Utah. So it was right at 7 days time I got my bike. And again, the only thing I had to assemble was the front tire I had to put on, which is very simple, and then the handlebars. But other than that, the bike was ready to ride. Unfortunately, it does not come with instructions like a manual in the box, but you can find that online pretty easily. Morning. I'm trying to learn a lot more about the e-bikes as far as maintenance, because you may find a bike shop around you, but you may have to drive a little bit to find to work on it. Most bicycle shops will not work on them unless they're their product. And almost all e-bikes are made in China. Now there are several out there, e-bikes. I mean, the growth in popularity and the amount of manufacturers now are just growing every day. So the bike costs are starting to come down a little bit. I'm at about 86% right now, and I'm going to bump it up to pedal assist 3. That's where I normally ride at. It'll give me up to about 20 miles an hour. But do a lot of research before you go buy a bike. I was looking at 2 or 3 different kind step-through bikes, but this one, with all the features it had, with the dual suspension, the step-through 20-inch bike, it made my decision. And again, I've had 0 problems on the bike. I had a little clicking sound when it got about 200 to 300 miles on it on the pedals, and I thought it was coming out of the pedals, but I tightened them down, and that didn't stop it. And I mean, well, I hope it's not down into the bracket, or the lower bracket, or the crank itself. So one day I just tightened every bolt on the bike down. And since I tightened all those bolts down, I don't have any noises at all. The bike has been performing really good. I just come up on the 10-mile marker, so we got about a little less than 5 to go. And I'm riding along here at about 20, 21, 22 mile an hour, depending on how much I want to pedal here. And again, I've got about 86% on the battery, so that's really good. There's a bike room coming up here. See him on the bike trail every day I'm out. And we're riding the same direction this time, but if I'm riding the other direction coming back, he'll shake his head at me every time. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know if it's my e-bike, the way I dress. I don't know. He shakes his head every single time. I'm polite to him, and I give him credit. You know, he's getting older and he's riding his bike, not using an e-bike or anything, so I give him credit for that. On your left. Yeah, I get a lot of comments sometimes to people I'm riding. They just don't like e-bikes on the bike trail. I don't know why. We're careful, they're legal here in Ohio, which a lot of states is. You can only have a 750 watt hub motor. And you're really supposed to max your speed out at 20 mile an hour. They don't say anything. As long as you're careful and and you dressed appropriately so you can be seen, they're going to leave you alone, as long as you're courteous to everybody else on the trail. You get those 1%ers that'll yell at you or call you cheating on your bike because you got an e-bike. I'll let them think what they want to think. I know this is right for me. I'm going to ride as long as the good Lord gives me breath and gives me the ability to turn these pedals. I'm going to be on my bike. Got an area here that when it gets in the springtime, it gets really flooded through here. You can't get across this trail because the river's right on the left here, and this trail might be, this little area under this bridge could be 2 feet deep. So you either wade through the water, go up around it, or turn around. But most of the time it's clear. But it's a very comfortable speed for me at 20.9 or 21 mile an hour. It's very comfortable speed. As you can see on the bottom of this controller, it'll show what pedal assist you're in, which is normal. And then it'll also show the watts that you're actually riding at. And then of course you got the tripometer, then the odometer. But the handles on this are very comfortable. It's got Zoom hydraulic brakes on it. Very well-known company for their hydraulic brakes. As I mentioned, I just changed those out on my other bike. But once I get 2,500 to 3,000 miles, I'll probably have to change it on this bike. So I'm at about 760 now. And the tires don't show any wear at all, so these knobby tires do pretty well. And the suspension is really good. You go across bumps, you just really don't feel it. Where my aerial rider, I can feel the bumps. There's no suspension on that bike. We're coming up on an area now called Kilcare Speedway here in Xenia, Ohio. It'll be very busy on weekends especially. But sometimes, like Thursday and Fridays, when they have their test days and they're running their e-times and stuff against the clock, you'll see a lot of them out here. That was one of those things on my bucket list. I rode this trail so much and seen them racing their cars. It was really intrigued me. I really like to watch No Prep Kings on TV. So I told my son this is going to be on my bucket list. So one day he called me on the day before Saturday and said, "You want to go to Kilcare?" I said, "Yep, that's on my bucket list." And here it is over here on the left. But once we did it, it wasn't too terribly hot out, but the noise and the smell of the fuel is just atrocious. I mean, you almost need ear protection if you're sitting in those grandstands, because them cars are loud. Most of those cars are what we call muscle cars. They were built back in the mid to late 60s, early 70s, and had a lot of horsepower for a street car. Of course, they did a lot of modifications to them. Some of them's got big blowers on them, and I hate to say the money they put into them cars. And they got these toter homes that they carry their cars in when they travel. Them toter homes got to be $100,000 in themselves. So it's an expensive sport for sure. So right over here is the dragway. We got about 3 miles to go at this point. That's usually right at the 12-mile marker when I cross that road. And so far I've been 45 minutes riding. I normally do it in about 50 to 57 minutes. I'll normally get halfway. I've done it so many times now, I pretty much know how long it takes me to get there. Again, that all depends on my speed I'm riding at as well. We're going to bump it up here now to pedal assist 4. Right now we got about 76% left on the battery. So I'm going to bump it up to 4, and we'll get up to about 23 to 24 mile an hour. As you can hear the motor kicking in a little bit there. It's pretty quiet though. Right now I'm about 24 mile an hour. That's about where I should be right now. Just gets me to my halfway point a little quicker. But the ride is very smooth. All you hear is the hub motor purring along there. And between the battery and the hub motor, you got what they call a controller, which sends all the information to the hub motor. As far as pedal assist, and it's a little computer. And it'll send all kind of information to the hub motor to tell you what you're doing. And when you squeeze these hydraulic brakes, it shuts the motor off to the bike. Doesn't shut it off. Well, it does shut it off, but you're just, it'll actually stop the motor from turning. How's that? So right now I'm at a very comfortable speed at about 23 to 24. May see a deer here, I don't know. I haven't seen any yet today, but if I'm not filming coming back, that's when we'll see them. Bike trail's pretty quiet today. Not seeing a lot of people. Again, about 24 mile an hour. I have seen deer up through here. You got this little creek down to the left side here. And I've seen them ride along this trail, and they can jump these fences pretty easily, believe it or not. If they have to, they will. We got a little bridge you cross up here that takes you back to the fairgrounds here at Greene County. So there's another bike trail you can take. A little funny story about that little trail back there, or bridge. I was riding with a group of people, and we was doing probably a 15-mile ride to a place called Young's Dairy here, Young's Jersey Dairy, and pretty popular place. And as we was coming back on the ride, me and another guy, I was coming down the hill on the other side of that bridge, and I hit the lip of that bridge. It stuck up about a half to 3/4 of an inch. And I hit that, and automatically when I did, I hit my brakes. Well, that was a huge mistake. I went over the top of my bike onto the bridge, and the bike landed on top of me. Now that was not this bike, it was another bike. And he come up on me, said, "You want me to call 911? I go, "No." I said, "I didn't get hurt at all." I said, "Good thing I had my helmet on, because I landed right on top of my helmet on that bridge." Had a couple scratches on the bike, hurt my pride, broke my mirror, and I had to change that out and a couple things, but no damage to me at all. But the lesson there is to wear your bike helmet. I see so many people out here not wearing bike helmets. That it's just dangerous. You see them riding motorcycles all the time, no helmet. And I'm thinking you'll see the same people that ride the motorcycle without a helmet ride their bikes. But you're cruising along 20 to 25 mile an hour on an e-bike, you're going to want to have some head protection. So I religiously ride with my helmet on. And a couple things you should always carry with you when you're riding an e-bike, or any bike for that matter. Carry a cell phone. If you got somebody at home, let them know you're going, where you're going, how long you'll be approximately. They need to know that. Inside my other bike helmet, which I don't have on this bike helmet, but I need to put it in there, is I have up my name and my wife's phone number and medical information inside my helmet, which is pretty smart to carry. Okay, we're coming up to our city of destination, which is called Xenia, Ohio. And I got like 3 or 4 little intersections I got to cross here. Now the next one I'm coming up on has a little button you can push to stop traffic next to or like that. And yeah, most people, you know, they'll heed the signals and see the lights flashing. They know somebody's either walking or biking across. So I'm going to push a little button here. It actually turns on warning lights for biker or for cars. No, nothing coming here on the left anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and cross, and nothing coming on the right, so I'm okay. But we get up on the next intersection, we're gonna have the same thing. And as you can see, both sides here, they're stopping. So people who live here are very familiar with the those 2 intersections, to look for them to be flashing. We got about another 5/10 of a mile here. We'll be up to where we're supposed to be. Last road I got to cross here. I think it was total about 14. Place we're coming up on here is my halfway point called Xenia Station. My watch just showed I came 15 miles. My bike is showing 15.7, so it gained a little bit. And that's how you set up the computer, size of the tire and everything. If we can't be 100% accurate, it's not going to be. A lot of people out there biking today. You can see all these cars in the parking lot. A lot of them drive this location, and you can go 4 different directions. Any direction you want to go, you can go from this little hub. And you can see people on recumbent bikes. Okay, I go up around the building here a little bit, and I'll stop, and what I'll do is eat a sandwich and a banana. That's what I normally do, and that'll end our video session here. We still got about 66% of the battery left, and we come about 15.8 miles, so that's about average for my ride. But as you can see, The bike itself really handles well. I'm very pleased with this bike. But again, I'll do these videos every now and then and show you a little bit about the bike, and so I just wanted to touch bases with you here.
Exercise ring closed.
But again, if you got any comments, put them down in the comments section, and then share the video if you want, and hit the like button and smash that subscribe button for me. I'd really appreciate it. And if there's any other videos you'd like me to show, just put them down in the comment section about e-bikes or my rides on my e-bikes if you enjoyed the ride. But again, I will sign out right now, and I will see you on the next video.